recording has started again. So the next step is to do integration. And integration via Zapier in this case. I'm going to use Zapier. I can use Workado as well. There are more tools. We have Flowgear. We've got Net. Now NetApp is a different tool. We've got Flowgear. We've got Zapier. We've got Workado as, let's say, no-code integration between web applications. And let me also show this one. That's better. So here we are. Automate provisioning with Zapier. So what we've done so far is we have created a manually created a subscription. When that was done, we started reading the information using the API, and we took the specific pieces that we needed and used them to send it to the SW license application, and eventually picked up their feedback and send it back into Connect and approve the request. Cool, but you don't want to do that on a manual basis, on a daily basis, right? So what you want is you want a tool that assists you in doing this. And for us, Zapier is just one of those tools. Like I said, if you prefer Workado, if you prefer Flowgear, we have integration tools for those as well. I'm going to use a demonstration in Zapier. Why? Because even though I'm comfortable with Workado, there are a couple of things that I cannot get to work as I want it yet. It is possible, I know that, but I don't know how to do it. Where I know how this works in Zapier. So I'm going to use Zapier as the tool to integrate. And I'm going to do 2 steps. I'm going to do first the step to just pick up any subscription requests and make sure that one works. And I'm going to do that on a timed trigger. A timed trigger as in every 2 to 5 minutes, the system polls, is there a new request? That's it. Nothing fancy, just is there a new request? If so, give it to me. And we start processing basically as we do it manually. The second thing I want to do, and I want to demonstrate 3 things where you, of course, will also do those as a lab. The second thing is I want to do that as what we would call a webhook, meaning that Zapier will be notified by Connect that there is something new, which is, of course, more efficient because it happens instantaneous, at least the trigger. And the third thing that I want to do is I want to show you how you would, let's say, in Zapier, treat different types of requests in a different way. I've prepared that one, so I'm not going to build that one completely. I'm just going to show you that it's possible and how it would look in a tool like Zapier. Basically, what we did is we created an extension for Zapier, meaning that Zapier has a module available that allows me to, without any code, get the key actions from Connect. So Zapier operates here. They are built, of course, on top of the SDK. By the way, there is a Zapier extension for commerce as well. So when we are going to look at this, what are the processes that we need to do? And let me pull up my browser, and I thought I created it. Yeah. So I created this one this morning. What we're going to build initially is everything up till the cancellation. So either we create a webhook call or a timed scenario, we get the info. So Zapier goes and get the information. That's what we start with. Let me get this one out of the way, Control X. So Zapier is going to request info. And of course, they get a reply with the asset requests. Then I'm going to verify the request type, because in this case, we could leave it out, but I want to do it anyway. Of course, after that, we want Zapier to create an account on SW license. We get the account ID back. We want to create a license. We get the license code back. What we do after that, either in one step or in two steps, it's up to you. In this case, I'm going to do it personally. I'm going to do it in one step. I'm going to fill the account ID and license code back into the Connect into the Connect fulfillment parameters, and I'm going to approve the request. This sounds like very simple, and actually it is very simple, but it's not completely straightforward. For that, and I'm going to put this one back because that's the next step we're going to do. For that, I am going to create in Zapier, I'm going to create what we call a zap. And what I would like to automate is I'm going to automate SW license creation. Creation is with a C in Cloud Blue Connect. For some reason, this is some AI thing that it thinks that it knows how to do this. Here we get Copilot. Just a moment, I don't care. I'm going to do it manually. Why? Because I want to show you every single step along the way. The first one is I need to have a trigger. And here there are two possible options. And I'm going to, like I said, first do that timed event. What am I going to do is I'm going to, always searching in the list, I'm going to check for a new asset request. If you go in here, you see that it is triggers when a new fulfillment request appears on the fulfillment queue using polling to Cloud Blue Connect. Okay, so this is the action. The next step is, of course, how do you want to connect? To which account do you want to connect? And I'm going to go to my environment first, because now I need a separate token, because Zapier expects a token in a different way. So I'm going to call this Zap token for demo. This is the name. And this is also the name that we will see when this automatic flow is happening. And this is for Zapier. You see there's an arrow down there. If I do custom, it says permissions. If I select Zapier, there are no permissions. So be aware that Zapier, to integrate with Zapier, you give away all modules. Zapier create. Oh, okay. I already have a Zapier extension. Doesn't really matter. So I can edit this, or I can see what the permissions are. everything enabled. This is what you get. And in general, I can view the token, and you see it looks different than the token that we created for the custom integration with Insomnia. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to choose, or I can create a new one. If I click connect a new account, this screen pops up. You paste the token in there and say connect. What it does now, it tries to authenticate. It pulls the information from that account. It gives me the account name, and you connect using that account name. So by using the token, we interrogate connect. Connect will give me the account name back. So in every single connection, you will see what the connected account is in our case, hoping that this will be a little bit quicker. It will tell me that it is AMX trainer for group arg bra. Ah, come on. I hate it when that thing pops up every once in a while. Choose, there it is. This is the account. It does it again. Choose. There are two in this case already. I'm not sure what is happening. I'm not able to select it. I have to add a new one. This seems broken to me, because now I'm creating different ones. Oh, there it is, used in 2 zaps. And the problem is I cannot continue. So I'm going to do this again, create a new account. This is so silly. And for whatever reason, it loses focus. It does not allow me to do it. Okay, now we see that there is a trigger set up. You see an account has been selected. Not sure why it takes this long, but we have to work with that. Go on. There we are. It has this account, AMX Trainer 4 space group arg bra. Like I predicted, I'm going to continue. And we are now first selecting the first set of data. So what are we going to do? We are searching for a request in the pending status. And we can add additional filters. We could, for instance, decide that we want to search only for a specific product ID, which is, of course, a logical thing to do, because each product ID, you connect to the account, and each product ID needs to be handled in a different way. So in this case, we search for a very specific product ID. Going to my product list and copy this product ID, the bottom one, right? So the product ID is this one. And we can now say continue, because we have set up the trigger. Every so many minutes, go and verify if there is a new asset request for this specific account. And then I only want you to start operating if the request is in the pending status and it's for this specific product. So now we can test the trigger. The thing is that for testing the trigger, there has to be, of course, a subscription and a request in that status. Create product. Sorry, not create product. Sorry, I thought I was on products. Oh, now I see. I need to go to the subscriptions directory. Create a new subscription. Next, next. For this application, there's my ID. Next. For this marketplace, next, next, next. For John Doe, this guy is eating licenses by the millions. Next. And this is Zappier demo@email.com. Create. Close. There's my Zap. There is my Zap. Test trigger. And I want to find new records.
You put pending and it's in processing status.
Yep. There we are. There it is. So this is a purchase request where for my specific product ID here, and at the bottom, we will see that the status going down, going down, going down. Cheers. Where the status, where are you? Here we are, is in the pending state. So that information the system used to pick up this request. And now I'm saying, okay, I want the data of this request to be helping me creating the rest of the information. So what I have now, where are we? This one. We have the reply with asset request. We've just done this line. So now it says split parameters. What do I mean with that? Well, let me quickly show you. If I go to the test and I go to, no, I'm going to use it here. What I want to do is I want to reformat my text, because what I have is I have 3 items, and those 3 items, the values of that, and maybe I can show it with Insomnia. Do a get requests, send. Where are my items? There's my parameters. The parameters are not split up like this when, for whatever reason, Zappier gets them. What Zappier gets is this value, that value, and that value as one field. So it has a Zappier demo@email.com, comma, comma. Those 2 other values are empty, but they are still there. And I can show you that in a second. So what I need to do is I need to reformat these 3 fields into 3 separate texts. That's why I'm using Formatter by Zappier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a utility. And in that utility, I need to transform a line item, so those 3 items, into separate texts. And the input of this comes from step 1. And what am I looking at? I'm looking at the items, parameters.value. Where are we? Parameters.value. It's not parameters value error. Here we are, parameters value. And here you see at the end, you see the email address, and then there are 2 commas. 2 commas because the values that are supposed to be there, account ID and license, are null. But the commas are there, and I don't want to feed this because an email address with 2 commas will fail, because it's not a real email address. So I need to split those up into 3 different fields. Enter text or insert data. If it is a comma, it's the default value. So I don't need to feed anything, but I could feed a comma there. Continue. And I need to test this again. Does it work? Here we are. We've got output item 1. And of course, the other 2 are nulls, so we don't use that. So that is, now we have a text that we can use. What do we use it for? We want to send information to our SW license application using the first name, last name of the contact, as well as this email address. So I'm going to add another step. And in this case, it's a webhook. It sounds a little bit weird, but you're going to send a post request to a specific URL. Continue. We need that URL. Let me pull it up from this one. Here we have it. That's the one. Control C. And the payload in this case should be JSON. So what are we sending? We are sending a couple of fields. Which fields? We're going to look at my SW service. We are going to create an account first, where we need a full name and an email. So full name. And what do we use? We pull that information again from the first step, from the asset request. You can see that the moment you have this is the tier 2. Be aware that what you take, you want the asset tier's customer contact information and not the tier 2 first name, last name. And things are a little bit messed up in this list. Parameters. Problem is there's not a real good search in there. Distributor name, contact asset pending, asset tiers, customer hub, owner name, parent. Now we're back to tier 1. Assets, contact info, email. Owner. Sometimes you see that there is almost too much information in there. Now we're at the bottom, so I missed it still. Customer type, customer owner ID, customer events. Oh, there we are. This is first name. And I want another of that field, and this is the last name. So now we have it. That's one. That's the full name. And we want another one, which is email. Be aware that what I feed here, in this case, full name, email, etc., is mandatory because this is what comes from our application. So full name, lowercase, email, lowercase, that's it. This is mandated by the application, as opposed later when we're going to push back the information into your application. Where do we get this? We get this information from the utility. So from step 2, we've got output item 1, Zapier demo at email.com. Do we need more? No, we continue and we test this step. What does it give me? It gives me a HTTP code 404. Oh, crap. I need to, of course, do a create license. I need to tell them what to do. Continue. Test step. Tell me.
Quick question.
Tell me.
When you put the name, since you're putting 2 different fields, shouldn't
It
you?
concatenates them to one. It concatenates them to one with a
Yeah,
space.
but there will be no with a space. It will put automatically
with a
the
space.
space. Oh, okay, that's the question, because I thought that maybe we
it
needed
does
to
that
format
automatically.
it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, it does that automatically. SW license, AppSpot, create license. Continue. Test step. Account not found. It should not. Sorry. My bad. I first need to create the account. This is what it's going to send. Test step. Now we have that information. Now it worked. So what we did is I'm back. I created the account and we got a return account ID. Now we need to create that license. And that was what I was doing already. So the next step is another post in webhooks. I'm going to again do a post. Continue. / create license. That's the one where, again, the payload is a JSON file. And in this case, it's a fairly simple one because we only feed it an account ID. Account ID with the value that we have as a result from the previous step. Continue. Test step. So now we have created everything on the SW side. No, this one. So we're now here. So the next step to do is first bring back the account ID and license code into the fulfillment request and then approve the request. So now we're adding a step that is related again to connect. And what we're doing is we are, where is it? Update, wait, fill asset request parameters is what we're doing. Continue. It assumes that you want to do that for the same, with the same connection. In this case, that is exactly what I want. So I don't need to select it anymore. And the first thing to do, of course, is make sure that the system knows what request to use. And that's an easy one. It's this request from step 1, because that's the one we are editing. And what parameters are we setting? We're setting an, we are setting capitalization we're putting, where are we? Items, parameters. We're setting an account ID and we're setting a license. So these are the two that I need to do. Account ID and license. Where do we get that information? Well, the account ID we get from this item. This is where we created the account. So we have the action that we have information from step, come on, from step 3. Here's my account ID. And for the license, we get, of course, the input from the output of step 4. Account ID, license code. Continue. And we're testing that step. Here we are. We see the entire asset request pass by again. It's a purchase request. This is the asset, blah, blah, blah. Asset items, one license, asset parameters. This is interesting. This is where the value of the email address was. We see that there is a value for the account ID now, and we also see that there is a value for the license now. If I would go to my subscription itself, to the fulfillment request, this is the purchase request that I have. Go to the parameters. We see that the Zap token artbra has done this in one step, as you see in this case. So the last step to do is now, so we've done this, we have to approve the request. So a last step in here. Again, a Cloud Blue Connect event. What are we doing? We're approving an asset request. Again, of course, which account? It's going to poll which accounts do we have, what has been used in this Zap earlier. That's why it takes a little bit. It takes a little bit longer. Thing is, I'm not that patient with these tools. I'm not sure why this should take so long, but there we are. That is indeed the link. What request are we authorizing or approving? The one that we picked up on step 1. And now we need a template ID. And this one, I want to make it easier. I'm just going to hard code it. Products, embedding. I'm going to select my default activation template. Going back to Zappier. Continue and test the step. We have approved it. Purchase request. We have a active asset, meaning that we do have an active subscription now. Going back to my subscriptions directory, the last one that I created is now an active one. In Zappier, this means that I can now publish this item, meaning that we make it available and active for the platform to start using it. Let's wait for this one to go live.
This one we are using a trigger, right? So it's you're basically working with queues, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so Connect will send a message through a queue. No.
This is a timed event.
It's a timed one.
Zappier will pull in this case.
Oh,
so let me
Zappier pulling. Okay.
Yeah. Let me do this. Let me create another one and see if it works.
From time to time, you say, is it configurable, the time to time that they
In
are pulling it?
Zapier, it is not configurable, sadly. In Zapier, if you have, let me type this one in. If you have the Enterprise Edition, it is every 5 minutes. Otherwise, it will be every 15 minutes. But the free version has only got 3-step zaps, which is not enough for this item, and it also does not have the webhook component available. So you would need to do this in production. You would need a paid version of Zapier. If you subscribe to it today, and I'm going to do that in the next. I'm going to show you where to go in a minute. You always get the full version for, I think, 14 days for 2 weeks. So that is enough for this training. So if you subscribe for Zapier Enterprise Edition, for now it will automatically end. You can test whatever I've done. So here we are. That is my request. If I go to fulfillment, we can just sit back and relax. This is the one. Now we have to wait for the request to kick in. I'm not doing anything. As far as I know, here we are. Hands off. 3, 2, 1. Approved. So this is what Zapier can do. The account has been created on the on SW license side. In Connect, we've got all those items and parameters set up. And of course, eventually, if this all works, this information will also be pushed back into Cloud Blue Commerce. You see that again, that this part is dynamic, this part is not. If I now refresh it, you will see that the license is ready, license key is there, that information that I put in my application is all there. So it looks like my Teams has an issue, or Teams has a weird issue, because I saw again that the recording has stopped and was started. So I'm not sure what is happening. Doesn't matter. Let's see how the recording looks later. So that is the first assignment for you, to build this with your own application. And what we have here is on this link, and let me paste that link. Control A, C. I'm pasting this link in the chat.
But if you could put the link for your API tools, the license, W license, whatever.
It's the one that is in your
in my Insomnia,
in your collection,
right?
in Insomnia.
Yeah, okay.
It's there. I can paste it there, no problem. But
no, I'll get it here. I'll get it here. Yeah. Don't worry.
Yeah. So can you sign up? That takes 2-3 minutes, and
I'm already there.
Okay, cool. And then build this integration. Build this integration as I did it. I'm going to stop the recording for that, because it's a waste of time to look at that.